down. I'm sure that it's working. Vicente is supposed to be in California, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And there's Art.
Went out there to see the whales. Oh, that's Art.
That's Art.
Chromium Art.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
You're us?
Yeah, Steve. So you guys can hear me.
Yes.
And we can
Okay,
see you.
very good, thank you. I am wrestling with this new microphone of mine. I don't know if the drivers are wrong or whatever, but it seems to be somewhat intermittent.
We have new Zoom apps. Art, did you install the new version of Zoom?
I have not.
Yes, apparently they've added apps. I don't
Added what?
apps. I don't-
APT. Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why or what we need them for, but
My apps. Oh,
we have note takers and collaboration stuff,
games.
games. That's what we need.
I'm just using the web version.
Ketchup. That sounds like a food.
Makes everything red.
It makes everything red.
Can you still hear me?
Spaces, huh?
Yep.
Okay. This new microphone is driving me nuts, and I don't know if it's mechanically bad or what the problem is. It seems to be intermittent. It comes and goes, so to speak.
It sounds all right now.
Okay. So you got what, three attendees today so far?
Yeah, and
I thought-
Vicente is supposed to be somewhere in California, but he may or may not.
Yeah, he was taking his daughter to something, I think it's down at Scripps Institute in San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys, since you guys are earlier than us, he may or may not be able to come.
Yeah. Well, it's 2:35 here right now, so
So he's probably in the middle of actually doing something useful.
well, I thought he was going. I assume he and his wife were dropping off their daughter to this whale watching thing in San Diego, and then he and his wife are going to tour around the state with some adjustments for smoke and fire and all that stuff. He's definitely hit us in the middle of a hot spell.
You make any more progress on your robot?
No.
No,
I
still waiting.
basically right now it's a wait and see situation, and I have not gotten any notifications of shipping or anything else, so I may start in and take a chance in buying one from Amazon, and the other one will show up when it shows up. Strange thing is, the power supply was supposed to be in the box with the robot. Now, at this point, it's been months since I've taken it out of the box, and I could have misplaced it, so who knows? The answer to your question, though, is no.
It's
Really
just,
annoying.
it's just.
It's all
a barrel
assembled,
connector,
it's
though, right?
all ready to go, looks beautiful. Can't charge the batteries.
It's just a barrel connector though, right?
Pardon?
Just a barrel connector, a round connector?
It is a barrel connector. The reason I was hesitant to go ahead and buy one was that I don't know which is the inside and which is the outside in terms of the mating female connector on the robot.
97% of the time, it's center positive.
Yeah.
Yep, I know what you're saying, but they sell both of them on Amazon, and I'm not sure what the consequences are if I get the wrong one.
You could use an ohm meter on the robot and go from the ground plane to the outside and the inside. One of them should show 0 ohms.
Yeah, that's true.
The battery might still have just enough power
Yeah.
to let you do a volt test on it too.
They don't.
They don't.
They don't.
Then
They have the same voltage as a piece of granite right now. So
that's good voltage. That tells you a lot.
of course the batteries may be dead, may have died an ugly death at this point too. I have never charged them up, so I don't know. They could be stone dead
below the
out of the
point.
box.
Down below the point that they won't even take a charge now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, until I get something I can charge them with, I won't know. So we'll see.
Trying to think. I don't think mine even came with batteries. I think I had to buy the batteries separate for mine.
These are some kind of lithium ion. They're a little bit bigger diameter than a AA, and about half again as long.
Sounds like an 18650.
Could be. They have absolutely zero markings on the outside of them. It's just a cylinder, and it's got a shrink wrap on the outside of a plastic shrink wrap on the outside of it, and there is no marking on anything. So I may get impatient and go ahead and
Did you say they're about the same size as the as a AA?
they're slightly larger in diameter than a AA, and they are about half again as long as a AA.
About half as long.
No, half of
That's long.
150% as long.
Oh. Gotcha.
What's the voltage shown?
Doesn't.
Doesn't say. Yeah, measure it.
Are you talking about the voltage on the battery?
Yeah.
Right now, it's the same as a piece of granite, 0.
Chances are real good you're not going to be able to charge those.
If it's a lithium, yeah, you're probably done. All right.
Could be. At any rate, I'm a little frustrated right now. Steve, you said 18,650?
Yeah,
Yeah,
18 millimeters in diameter, 65 millimeters long.
Now, what is the nominal voltage on those?
3.7.
It's a possibility, I guess. The
And if
chargers,
it's like,
chargers-
like Steve says, if it says 0, it's probably done for.
yeah, well, the charger is supposed to be 8.4 volts. So,
There's two of them, so that's 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5 to 8.5.
So that's probably about right.
so you would
Same
normally
as-
charge them with a little bit more than their nominal voltage?
Yes.
Usually,
Yeah,
Okay,
they
well,
go up to the, when they're fully charged, they're 4 volts, I think. They say it's fully charged when it's 4 volts. So
okay,
it would be 8 volts for if it's 2 cells.
well, maybe I'll do some experimentation. I've been hesitant to do that, but if this continues, I will do a little more experimentation.
They may have 8 volts with a constant current charge on it, which probably what most of them are. They just put a current on it, then the voltage doesn't matter. They just put a constant current on it. Hey, we
Okay.
can't lose.
Okay,
Well, there's a 21 something.
I,
I've never seen 14,500.
yeah. When he said AA, that's what I thought of was the 14,500. Because I ran into that exact same problem and I had to figure out which one it was. How do I share? Why did they change stuff? Why does
Make it
stuff?
different, better.
It's better.
Why does stuff have to be different? This is a rough size comparison. It's not great, but the 500s are just about the same size as AA's.
well, this is bigger than a AA.
The 18650s, and then there's even
It's like a 19.
Yeah, there's even more. There's even bigger and smaller.
Just plain different.
I'll tell you, they look very much like the 18650s there.
It's probably an 18650. I think that's what mine took. Were a couple 18650s.
If you know somebody with a Tesla, you can get like 6,000 of them.
Yeah. Now they've changed the size on those now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
it's a more optimal size. That's it.
A more optimal size.
Yeah.
So there's a comparison of a AA next to a,
Yeah, that green jobby on the right-hand side looks pretty much like it.
yeah, that's probably what you got.
So maybe I'll just buy a couple of those suckers from Amazon, charge them up and see if it'll run the robot.
So 18650s, are those similar polarity? The case is ground? I never paid attention.
Yeah, I think so.
I always have
Yeah.
the button on the end.
Mhm.
It looks just like a regular battery. It's got a button on the positive end, you know.
Like that.
Now that's a little, yeah, that's a little different. That one's marked at least.
But see, you want to watch them because these ones here have the vent holes. So that's kind of important. That's so they will stop exploding. In
Oh,
theory.
really?
And they have electronics in them.
In theory, that will stop them from exploding.
Okay.
Yeah, they have
Well, I
electronics.
think I'm gonna go ahead and buy something and do some experimentation. I can get them from Amazon in 2 days or so, so, you know,
They,
No reason to continue to wait.
they usually come with, well, that one comes with a flashlight and batteries, a limited time deal. But they usually come with a charger. So I've got like dozens of these cheap chargers sitting around because of all the 18650s I bought.
Okay, well, I will try that.
Like that, like this set here. You get an 18650, a charger, and a flashlight. I don't understand that, but whatever. For 23 bucks.
So the charger then just plugs into a wall wart or
Yep.
what?
Well, that one,
Probably is a wall
it
wart.
probably is a wall wart. It probably just plugs in.
Okay,
I've got a couple of them that are USB like that, and they're slow.
Yeah, you want to read the reviews on them, absolutely. And
Like-
look at the ratings
Like that
and
one.
don't get one that's not rated a lot, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of them that are like this white one here.
mm-hmm,
I've got a couple of them that are like this, but they're slow, but they can take all the different sizes, so they're handy.
mm-hmm.
And
Got a bunch of them like this.
be prepared to be frustrated.
That looks like that has the chance of just making fire.
Some of them, well, you know, some of them will eventually go bad just sitting there. And some of them will go to 0 volts and they won't come back up. Or some of them just go away. They are a bit of a pain in the butt.
And weird USB. stuff.
Well, I really want to get this robot going, so I think I will buy some batteries and a charger. Who knows how long it could take to
Batteries
come
and
from
fuels will be-
China these days.
You got an interesting charger cable for a set of earphones. Gets rid of one of the problems. Look at the other. No matter how you put it in, if it goes in, it should work. Can't put it in upside down.
You can't put it
No,
in.
that end you can't.
Oh,
This
okay.
end you can't.
Oh, that's a USB connector weird.
Instead of skull candy earbuds.
That does solve one of the problems.
So what is that, a USB-C?
No,
Micro.
it's a USB-A to micro USB adapter.
Ah, okay. Okay, an A to, okay. But you can put the A in either way around.
Right.
It's got both sides.
That's bizarre.
It actually would save a bunch of,
Yeah, that would save me 2 insertions every time.
that would save a bunch of problems.
That's not it.
That's not it.
That's
That's-
not-
If it's not right, just turn your device over. That'll work. I've got an SD card, a little SD card reader like that, only it's a little bit bigger. But every single time I try to stick the SD card in wrong.
Mhm.
And then I flip the SD card over and it still doesn't want to go in. So I flip the device over and it goes in and I'm like, isn't that the same way I had it in the first place?
I had one that was a push to eject,
Yeah,
but the spring was broken. And so if you flipped it around, it would
it would
get
work.
you locked. And then you had to flip it upside down again to get the little catch to release.
I don't think this one has a push to lock thing, but it's one of the most bizarre things in the world because I don't flip the card over. Well, actually, I flipped the card over once. And then I flipped the USB SD card reader over, and then it goes in. So they both should be in the same orientation. They're just upside down. And then I found out that the USB extender cable that I've got actually has a micro SD card reader on it and a regular size SD card reader on it.
Oh, cool.
And it has an Ethernet port that I didn't know existed, but
Do what?
there's an Ethernet port on it.
Okay.
And the unfortunate part about that is Linux doesn't see that Ethernet port, but it sees the SD card readers. But I didn't know they were there. It's just a cable. It's just an extension cable. And I was looking at it one day and I was like, what the heck is this cover? Why is there a cover on the USB end, on the mating end?
Yeah.
Huh, there's a Ethernet and there's two SD, a full-size SD card reader and a micro SD card reader. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why they've got two of them, but I'll take it.
Here's the problem with these cameras. Wasp.
No, you got a squirrel.
No.
That's
He
a
gets
wasp.
to take a ride. I can get him off of there. Let's see. That'll probably work with this. It's not. I don't see. I'm always amazed for that to load that one thing. Well, then they reject the old 3-cam port number. It's like they do.
Are you going to build a Sudoku robot, Mr. Steve?
I don't think so. Find out, see if the instructions work.
It looked kind of interesting. I've thought about doing something.
I wrote a Sudoku solver in Bash. And it works, but it's tedious to put the numbers in. It solves them the same way I do. So, yeah. Hadn't come across one that can't solve it. Well, that's not true. There's a guy that does Sudoku on YouTube, and he had one with no digits. So it's the normal 9x9 square, plus it has some lines in it, and along the lines, every number is either ascending or descending.
Okay,
And
okay.
so he was able to start with that and figure out what numbers had to be where along those lines, and that gave him enough to finish up. Kind of neat.
The the ones that the one that I started playing recently, grids, you got your 9x9 grid,
Mhm.
but then it sections inside of each grid or across grids. It gives you a number that those spaces should add up.
Oh, okay.
So in the upper corner, it'll say like 4. So if there's 2 blocks and it should add up to 4, obviously one of those is going to be 1 and one of them is going to be 3.
Mhm.
You just got to figure out which one based on the other clues. I have found that one to be kind of challenging. But it also helps when you get down to a couple of those problems where you're going, I don't know where this number goes. But it has to go here or here, right? The other night, I was playing, I usually play right before I go to sleep.
Mhm.
And I fell asleep and I woke up and all my grids had 4s in them. So I must have been holding the. I'm like, okay, that's gonna shoot my average all to hell.
No, mine doesn't. So I've got one on my phone, which I think I must have left in the car. I hope I didn't drop it on the way in. It's got 5 levels. I generally stick to the 3rd level. There's like 700 puzzles on each level. And I haven't gone through them all yet, but I'm averaging about 9 minutes per. And yeah, mine's a go to sleep thing. I'm almost down to where I'm hypnotized by it. Seriously.
Mine gives a daily challenge, which I don't find much of a challenge, and then they'll give, like, every couple of weeks, you'll get a big challenge that'll last a couple, 3 days, and
Mhm.
but it's like 20 or 30 puzzles that you've got to solve within that amount of time. And all you get is a little picture or something that says, congratulations,
Yeah.
you've done this.
Yeah.
But those are the ones where they've started to give random combination of either a standard ordinary Sudoku or one with the numbers, or one that's a little bit more bizarre that kind of like you said, it's either going to be ascending or descending. So they're a little bit more challenging because you really don't know what you're going to end up with when you hit the next button.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
But still, when you fall asleep and all your grid spaces say 4, you know there's a problem. Or all your open free grid spaces. When you wake up and all your free grid spaces say 4, there's a problem.
Marla does crosswords every night before going to sleep. And I've been helping with those. I don't know if it's help or not, but I'm getting better at crosswords. I never used to like them much.
I can't really deal with crosswords. Patty does, she'll do paper Sudokus. She got a big book of them. Problem is she does them with pen, in pen.
Mhm.
And she'll come across some that she'll go, I don't know where I messed up. I don't know how I messed this up. And I'm going, well, first you messed up because you used pen. So they're going to be impossible to erase now.
Yeah.
Second, there's like 3 9s in this one grid. I don't know how you ended up with 3 9s.
That might be part of the problem.
That's probably a problem. Can you fix this for me? Yeah, probably. Please stop using pen. That's the biggest fix. I've seen that guy on YouTube though. He's just like a master Sudoku guy.
Yeah, apparently there are competitions and he's beating those.
Yeah. I saw he was doing some of them and I was watching him do it. And I was like, I bet that answer is going to be that. I bet that grid's going to be that. And sure enough, that's what it was. I've gotten pretty good at Sudoku, even if I fall asleep. My average time is around 2 minutes.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. And even falling asleep and having the puzzle open for 8 hours didn't really affect my average time much. The medium and hard ones, my average is close to 4.5 to 5 minutes
Hmm.
on those.
I don't think I've ever broken 5 minutes.
I had a couple of them that I did in like 30 seconds. I cheated.
Okay.
I'm allowed to cheat. One of my friends a long time ago, he was playing them and he said, "I'm surprised you've never done this before." And he handed me one and I just went through it and he said, "Here, try a hard one." And I ran through the hard one pretty, not as fast as I can now, but I ran through the hard one pretty fast and he was like, here's an extreme one, try this. And that one kicked me in the butt because I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Ooh, cool.
That's cute.
You can send your email, your keep stuff, or send it via another app. Bluetooth? Oh,
You can save them as PDFs too.
no.
But I don't know if you can do that from the phone. I know
Save
you
to
can-
drive.
It's, if you go keep.google.com online, you'll see it, it's there.
Send that, okay, send to video. Okay. It's
Pretty thin wall PTFE. Yeah. Wait, is there a difference between PTFE and PFTE?
Yeah. It's called not knowing how to spell. Fat fingered that one, didn't I? My
I have noun deficiency real frequently. The other day I was talking to Marla and I couldn't think of the words, so I told her I was putting my stuff in the big wet whirly machine because clothes washer just escaped me.
I think
The little wet whirly machine being,
I do that all the time. Hand me that thing over there. What thing? You know, it's round. It goes in circles. That thing, I don't know what it's called. You mean the robot? Oh yeah, that. Bring it here. The Roomba? Yes, bring that here.
oh, I finally got one. The Walmart special Eufy. With the 3-year warranty, it came out to $300. Seems okay. It does mapping, so navigation, whatever you want to call it. It shows you what the map it has is,
Oh, that's
and
nice.
it, well, I mean, on your phone, and it's certainly recognizable as the apartment. But yeah, mostly happy with it.
Does it clean the floor?
Yes, yes.
Does it gather your USB cords for you?
We have learned to just tie them up and out of the way. Well, since all of
My
my,
power cords on the floor or
yeah, we don't have any.
No.
But since all of our USB cords are from my phone, the little magnetic ones, we stick them on the lamp by the bed. It's tink.
Tink.
any tassels on rugs?
Nope. Never
No.
runs.
They have some, they've been pumping one recently that empties itself.
Mhm. Yeah, that's $700.
It's
Too cheap.
$179 on the
Oh.
Shark. Yeah, saying $179 on Shark.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't that expensive. It was a knockoff. It's Shark brand, you know, Shark is PD brand. I looked at one and said that's cheap and it's much cheaper than.
So it's like 260. So Eufy. EUFY. Anchor, wait, Anchor Eufy, I think. Yeah. The 35C, that's not it,
Like
but
that.
that's real similar.
Unless it came out like this.
Could be. Huh, that's cheaper than what we paid.
Come down in price.
When we're trying
Empty
to-
base, that's an empty base.
Yeah,
500
450.
Self-emptying, bagless cleaning. Yeah, the sharks can do it. I think one of the Roombas can do it.
Mhm.
On the Roomba, it's a Roomba knockoff. The one I saw was a Roomba knockoff. But the Roomba knockoff, Roomba was 900 and it was 200 now.
Mhm.
This is a year or two ago.
I think one of the high-end Roombas can do it.
High-end being lots of money.
Lots of money.
But they got balls. I mean, $900, seriously.
Yeah,
Come on.
but we've got a fairly small apartment and it can get to just about everywhere. And it's kind of funny because now you can, on the map, you can see where the couch is and where the kitchen table is. And that was a thing I had to do. Our kitchen chairs were like a 1/16 of an inch too narrow for the thing to get through. So it
Yeah,
would
exactly.
bounce around until it jammed, pretty much daily. So I put strapping tape around the bottom of all the chairs.
Our Roomba will go into the kitchen and it will decide that it wants to clean the kitchen.
Mhm.
So I finally found one of the virtual walls.
Mhm.
And I can't find batteries. I can find like a 15 pack of batteries, but I can't find a 2-pack of D-cell batteries.
Hmm. I've got 2 D cells. Bring me some batteries. Mine,
It's enough to make you go,
yeah, well, not much use.
I know, and which is why I'm going, why do I need a 15 pack of these things?
You figure you've got the 5-cell mag light. The Eufy has a magnetic, so you just put down a magnetic strip, and that's handy.
The Nitos have a magnetic sensor in them. But all 3 of my Nitos that I got from either an auction or just bought outright don't work.
You don't have a cat,
Straight up don't work.
or you wouldn't have a Eufy. Because they just, the hair comes about, even the ones that are supposed to prevent.
Well, Marla has pretty long hair, and it does okay. I've had to cut hair out of it twice. The little brush has a razor blade on it for that. It works.
I just broke down and got an electric plug-in type. And with I got it and I used it on our bedroom the first time. We had 3 cats.
Mhm.
And after I used it and it was full. Okay, there was that much cat hair in there
Yeah.
that had been missed. It was full the first time. So now I know, yeah. And I was shocked
That's
how much hair was in there.
the problem I've got with the Roombas is the little container, the dust collector,
Mhm.
it gets full.
Yeah.
Just like that. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, ours fills up every day.
I like my Roomba. And now if I can get batteries, just 2, I just need 2. for the virtual wall. I'll keep it from going in the kitchen, and it blocks the kitchen.
Why? Does it not do navigation?
Now, the Roombas, at least the older,
One of the random bounce ones?
the older Roombas are more or less random bounce.
Yeah.
They will,
Something
they
that-
don't map.
Yeah.
They've got IR sensors that you can put up that will tell it to do various and sundry things,
Mhm.
but they're dumb. They are the dumbest boxes of rocks that just work.
So they tend to always turn about 30 degrees. And yeah, it's like Pong, if you got the paddle in the right spot, it'll just go forever. If you move the trash can or something, that might break the,
It would break the cycle.
yeah.
Actually, mine are a little bit newer, and they do have dust sensors in them. That's about as advanced as mine are.
Mhm.
And you will see it, if it detects a large area of dust, it will vacuum over top of it, and then it'll spin around and do it again
Mhm.
until the dust sensor says there's nothing there. But it's pretty much bounce and go, and hope that it doesn't get tangled up into something.
Yeah.
Or get under the table. If it gets under the kitchen table, you've lost it.
Yep.
It's
That's why there's tape around the bottom.
well,
of our
that's
chairs.
why I want the virtual wall, because I don't care if it goes in the kitchen.
Mhm.
I just don't want it to go under the table.
Now, so our table has a pretty good sized top, but the legs are set in fairly small. And so it ends up, you've got 4 table legs and 4 chair legs, 4 table legs, 4 chair legs, and then 2 more chairs on the other sides. And again,
Just gets.
I've got an old Harbor Freight strapping set with the white fiberglass tape. Put that on there, and that worked really.
Mine, if it goes under a chair, it changes its pattern a little bit, and it'll start looping around the chair, the legs. And then it'll go to the next one and loop around that one for a little bit, and then it's got a little bit more sophisticated pattern than my early ones. I think Jim ended up with one of the first Roombas. And that thing really was bouncing. And hope that it battery didn't die in the middle of your cycle, because it would just die.
Yeah. Mine, the only time the battery has died is it has accidentally closed the door in the office while it's in the office. And then I get a
Couldn't find-
message on the phone, can't find the charger.
Can't find the charger. Yeah. Mine,
It will go to sleep. I can come in, open the door, and tell it to go back to the charger, and it has enough battery power to try again. It just barely.
see, the Roomba, the Nito has a LiDAR on it,
Mhm.
and it has a basic map. And if something in the house changes, it has to erase the map and start over again.
Mhm.
But supposedly it counts wheel turns and everything else, so it will, even if it can't find the charger, it will get really close to it.
That's cool.
If for some reason your charger's not sending this little homey
Yeah.
Homey. chargy thing. But the Roomba is just dumb. If it can't see the IR beacon, you might as well forget it. Just pick that sucker up and put it back on the charger.
Well, this one's pretty good. I mean, it leaves nice, long, straight lines in the carpet, and they tend to be parallel to the wall, which I like. That's my OCD.
Yeah,
Um,
mine doesn't do that. I get the, well, it went this way and then it went this way and now it's going that way again.
This one is pretty consistent. It comes off the base. starts making long lines, and then it goes in the office and zigzags in there. And it comes back out and finishes up the living room from where it had been. And usually that's about how far it can go on a charge. So it goes back to the charger. So it leaves a diagonal stripe across those nice straight lines. Like, no, no. But it charges up, and then 3 hours later it comes back and finishes up the rest of the living room, and it's good.
I think, see, I've never actually ever got, because I bought one Mito that I knew was bad. It was cheap, and I wanted the LiDAR out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought it. I knew it didn't work, and it didn't. The LiDAR itself, the drive belt on the LiDAR had broke. So if it doesn't,
Yeah.
so if it doesn't have the LiDAR spinning,
Mm-hmm.
it will just fail. So it should have been a simple fix. But me being me, I wanted the LiDAR, so I didn't care. Then at an auction, there was one, and I got it for $1. Took it home, plugged it in, got it charged up. It rolled about 6 feet, said there was an error. I said, okay, I paid $1. I want the LiDAR. I don't care. The other one I bought at an auction. I think I paid $5 for it. It never, ever even took a charge. And the batteries for the stupid thing were an insane price. And I just went, no,
Yeah.
I'm done. I want the LiDAR. So I took the LiDAR.
That's one of the reasons I kind of like the Eufy. They're in a battery pack, but it has 4 18650s. You
Oh.
can tell from the pack that's
Yeah.
what they are.
Yeah, the 3 that I've had use NiCads.
Oh,
Yeah,
ew.
yeah,
No wonder they didn't work.
yeah. And well, 2 of them actually took a charge, but that was about as far as that went.
Yeah.
And the Roombas that I've got all use NiCads, but the new Roombas are using LiPos. So
Mm-hmm. I assume mine is
it's probably a
lithium
LiPo.
ion or something. I don't know.
If it's modern, it's probably a,
Yeah.
Nickel cadmiums handle more current than lipos, yeah. They, yeah,
I
the
think
wattage
not.
rating may be similar, but it has a higher current rating because you're powering motors and they're high current drives. Yeah. So that's why a lot of the old trimmers, for example, my trimmer, you think they'd be lithium. No, you think they'd be LiPo. No. Yeah, nickel cadmium. Yeah, probably are now, but when I bought, 3 years ago was still, I was surprised. Nickel cadmium. Okay. Yeah. And because I run it till it stops.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're
That's not good for NiCads either.
Yeah, yeah. But they're more tolerant to it.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's what
really
they
bad
say,
if it
yeah.
runs all the way down, wait 5 minutes. Wait 5 minutes. Do that 4 or 5 times and it won't charge.
Yeah, it won't come back.
my the last cordless drill I bought, I think, had a NiCad pack in it. And that was a fairly decent purchase.
I got a Harbor Freight, their midline. Pretty happy with it. It's
The white ones,
now it's red
red.
and black.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that uses the battery. You can buy a battery, with 2 and a medium fast charger. I don't like real fast chargers. But yeah, it's the only thing that is a detractor is it's not a coreless motor. Or brushless. It is a brushed motor.
Yeah.
Whatever. I
You
can't
can
stop
run, you
it.
can run it a lot. So
Yeah.
Yeah. My kid, he bought, it was one of the white ones
Mhm.
from Harbor Freight. That thing is fantastic. think
That's probably one of the brushless ones then.
I don't know, but
They've got 3 levels. Super cheap garbage midline that I got, and their upper line, which is half again as expensive. Coreless brushless motors.
well, I don't know which line this is. It's the white line. That's all I
Okay.
know. And he bought it as a kit. It came with Sawzall and
Mhm.
a flashlight and some other stuff. And so it came with like 2 battery packs or
Yeah.
something, and they all use the same battery pack. He just slides it off and slides it on to something else. It kind of looks like a DeWalt, only
Yep.
it's not.
It is. It came out of the same factory,
Probably.
same guts.
Gail won a Milwaukee one. That's a high-end thing. And it's a 12 volt. It has a little 3-unit battery pack. And it came with a spare battery and charger, and that thing's a little kicker. It's got a lithium battery. That's a little kicker. They had the good guys show up with their Milwaukees, they're 18 volts or whatever. Those are really kickers. But the little, it's a tiny thing.
Yeah.
But it
I
was,
used to have a real small DeWalt that had a good clutch. I used that for doing electrical outlets.
Mhm.
And I mean, you could turn the thing down to where it would tighten the screws on the plate just right. Yeah, I got that thing 15 years ago. I literally.
I had a DeWalt, and I went through several batteries before the drill actually finally said, maybe I don't want to work too much anymore.
Yeah, mine, I toasted the clutch.
Mine, I don't know. I think I probably fried the motor in it. So I was trying to do stuff I wasn't
cabinet
supposed to.
wiring for 2025? You want to do cabinet wiring for 2025?
Cabinet wiring as in
Cabinet wiring.
computer
Like
cabinets?
18-inch rack.
Okay,
It's,
yeah, sure.
I mean, it is.
I still do that as side work.
Okay, oh, okay, but this is with, very deep. Miners, that's the word we're
Okay,
wiring. It's,
I used
Yeah.
to work for Square D
yeah,
in 1982.
what they're doing now is they're hiring temps, and if you make it, you're perm. You show up to work every day, you're in.
Now, I got a friend that works at the one up in Oxford.
About that, yeah, Oxford, yeah, that's a different division. Just right up the road, about 3-4 miles.
Between here and Fairfield?
I don't know if it's how far Fairfield is. It's right off the road. It's a big warehouse looking thing.
Sims Road? Because Port Union or Union Center, whatever it is, turns into Sims
Yes,
on
it
the other
probably
side of
is.
747.
It probably is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they look for people there. And if you're entertaining with stuff like that, I mean, it's wiring. You get here's the map, here's the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I worked for Square D, my job was to use a little air ratchet to attach a bracket to the back of a breaker box. That was it. And I was on an assembly line with about 40 older hillbilly women. And they would just sit there and talk and work and talk and work, and I could talk or work. Couldn't do both.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. I loved working with those women, but I never got to say a word.
They're doing custom builds. They're doing breakers. Basically just making breakers, cleaning breakers, 600 volt, 660, 460 low voltage breakers, and they're doing custom controls, and they're doing the vacuum breakers, but per se, but some of them are vacuum. They're specially, they're doing what they're doing now is the 600 volt breakers. They're downsizing them, so they're miniaturizing them.
Okay,
So the naturally container itself comes from France or somewhere like that. And everybody's doing that, so it's that sort of thing.
I used to have a relay that came out of a locomotive that had blowout coils on it.
Oh, yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Never had anything that drew enough current to actually make it useful, but things about that tall, that big around, contacts moved about that far. It was sweet.
Probably could,
5,000 amps.
Wow.
Yeah.
probably could get some work, panel work like at PLC places. Wire up the PLC cabinets. If you like that stuff.
Didn't thought about doing that for a while.
If you like that stuff. My, one of my friends works at, I don't know where he works at anymore. He's a programmer for a PLC company. And they're always looking for people that will wire the panels because the programmers don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah, I did that for a company called UV Technology in Newtown for years. Had fun. Those relaxing.
This is not like a production line environment where you're doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
It's a boom, here's a do with boom, and that they do all custom.
That's what he said PLC work is. It's all custom, so it's different. Every time you go to do one, it's a different.
With UVT, each assembly was custom, but not terribly, depending on where the unit was going, what voltage it was, what frequency, and we had to wire the transformers up differently and change the taps and everything. It was fun. I made the mistake there. Oh, 2 bits of news. I worked with my wife. I got her a job and we were side by side on effectively an assembly line. Don't ever do that. And as of yesterday, I am single.
All right, congrats.
Or what programmable art?
The Roombas.
Oh, no. No, I've got a little remote control. I can control it. The new ones have an app that you can basically do the same thing, but the new ones are way more sophisticated and way more expensive.
No, mine wasn't. But yeah, on the app, I can tell it, go over there and start cleaning that area, and it does a loop.
So you could modify the pattern.
Well, with the remote, it depends on which remote you've got. They make 2 or 3 different ones. And you could basically drive it to where you want it to go and hit the button that says clean or go in a circle or whatever. But
yeah, I can't tell it to always go to this side of the room and start there, and then work to the left. Its programming is beyond what I'm allowed to play with.
yeah, programmable is not, they're not programmable. But the Roombas, at least the old ones, gave you a programming interface port.
Really?
And
Little JTAG board?
no, I'll bring that in next week. Actually, they use serial commands, and you can send serial commands to it and tell it to do stuff.
Okay, so you could
The
put an Arduino
original
on top of it.
the original Roombas up until like the 600 model was hacker friendly. Hacker friendly. The original models were very hacker friendly because they actually published how to do it.
Yeah, nice.
The newer models, not so much. Although I imagine that even the new models that are out, the 700, 900, 800 series, still somewhere have the port
Serial
on it,
interface.
the serial interface port on them. Because they're
So you
not-
can stick an Arduino on top of it. Use that to remote control it.
Yes, and several people have. Actually, the latest is using ESP32s to do it,
Okay,
because you could do it Wi-Fi.
yeah,
But they actually made a model, it was a refurbished. So the old 4400 series, which was really a 400 series, after they rebranded and renamed everything, the 4400s were like the original. They became the 400 series, but they took and refurbished these 4400s. They took out the vacuum guts, they took out some other guts. They flipped they flipped where the vacuum would go upside down, so you had a port in it so that you could stack stuff in there. And then they actually gave you an actual Atmega 168 that would plug into it. So it wasn't quite an Arduino, but
close enough. Yeah,
and that was called the iRobot Create, and it was marketed towards
okay.
schools. It was identical to the 400 series, except the 400 series was actually a vacuum and the Create wasn't. It was a slightly modified version of the 4400.
Very cool.
And I have a Create now. I finally acquired one just before we moved. I got it.
But it doesn't have a vacuum.
It does not have a vacuum.
Okay,
And it's basically a refurbished 4400 with a slightly different shell. And they added an interface port for the command, they call it a command module.
Mhm.
But it still has the serial port that the 4400s have. So you
Okay.
could either take the command module off and control it via the serial port, or you can program the command module.
So how intelligent is the base? Do you have to continuously tell it to move forward, or can you tell it go forward 2 feet?
Basically, it's just like programming other Arduinos. So you still pull your sensors. You will be able to read your sensor values, so you could tell it to move until a sensor gets hit.
Okay,
You could figure out which sensor actually got hit, and then figure out if you
Go
need to
left
turn
or-
left or right or back up or.
that's very cool.
The programming interface for it is, it's well documented. They actually gave, I mean, you know, it came with a manual. Of course, the manuals are hard to find now, but you can get the PDFs online for them. And the interface is well documented. Yeah, the serial port
Mhm.
is a DIN 8 connector, mini DIN 8
Mhm.
connector. It's got 12 volts, 5 volts, and something else, so you can power everything right off of
Oh,
it.
sweet.
It is
Friendly.
it's harder now. It was really friendly back in the day.
Yeah,
It's harder now because some of that stuff, iRobot, I think they want to forget that they did that, so they started deleting some of that stuff off their sites and everything. When they got the military contract, a lot of the hacker-friendly stuff disappeared.
no, I didn't know that. Didn't know they had military contracts.
Yeah, well, they had a military contract for some of their bigger. More,
So using the Google bought Boston Dynamics just so the military couldn't have those.
well, yeah, iRobot, that place that's up here, that Ray has talked about going to,
Mhm.
taking the tour. They apparently bought the iRobot side of the military side of iRobot.
Oh,
So a lot of the robots that are up there used to be iRobot.
okay. So
Yeah.
wait, field trip?
sooner or later. Now the real question is why did iRobot want to get out of the military game? Because they sold that division off to another company. So there must have been a lot of money involved to sell it off. Or the contracts were not as good. The military wanted
they
way
just-
more than what the,
Where they just spun off a company name so that people wouldn't think that their vacuum cleaner was gonna shoot them at night.
There could be something to that, maybe. But Ray has talked about, I guess he sold this company a couple of lasers or something. And then he wanted to do a tour, and they have a lot of the same robots that iRobot had. So, yes, at one time, iRobot made a hacker-friendly robot. So I guess to answer your question, Art, they are, but it's more complicated than that.
Okay. So that I assume that there's somebody out there someplace on YouTube who has gone into them with a soldering iron and done a real hack job on them.
With the serial interface, I'm not so sure that you really need to go very far into it.
I see. And you say the firmware is fairly well documented?
Yeah, I'll bring all that stuff next week if we're going to show and tell.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll bring down the Create. I just acquired that thing right before we moved and really didn't have a chance to play around with it much. So
How effective are they in actually vacuuming? I mean, do they actually get the stuff out of the carpet and so forth?
my dust bin collector is full every time it goes out.
Yeah, mine too.
So
I occasionally leave Cheerios for it just to see what it'll do.
yeah,
It's never missed one.
I mean, I've seen it leave a few things behind, but I think it does a fairly decent job. And if it goes out every day,
Yeah,
So I assume these are dry only. Is that correct? There's no wet or dry
they
like you have
still
with
are
shop
dry
vac?
now, but I think all of ours are dry. Fine is.
I've got an old robot, iRobot Scuba. It was
Oh.
called a Scuba, and it is a wet vac. And
Really?
I have tried to get Patty to use it, and she doesn't want to use it. So, basically, though, it is exactly the same as one of the old 4400s, only updated for wet. It's got two tanks. It's got a wet tank and a dirty tank, or a clean tank and a dirty tank. And it was not really meant for large areas. It was meant for kitchen size areas, bathroom size areas. And when we were using it at the old house, it actually did pretty good. What the heck was that?
May I have your attention, please?
Oh, it's time
The
to go.
time is now 6:40 and the library will be closing in 20 minutes at 7 o'clock. At this time, please begin making
Okay,
your
last
final
week it was
selections and
6:45
taking them
when
to
it
the
went out.
self-checkout stations. Again, the library will close in 20 minutes at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
She's 5 minutes early.
I think they changed their recording because 15 minutes proved not quite be enough.
Maybe they've had problems with lingerers.
Lingerers. And well, that's a problem. Kroger.
You have one that automatically empties itself?
There's a couple of them on the Walmart side. It looked like Ecovacs and Shark. And I think iRobot makes one that has an automatic impleer.
Okay, so next week is vacuum sweeper robot day.
I guess so.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Now I gotta clean
All right. We'll see you next week, Art.
Okay, you guys take care.
Bye.
it.
Keep your powder dry.